All right, let's get it. All right, good morning, folks. Let me just make sure I'm live on all the platforms. Everyone had an incredible weekend. Facebook was happening. Check testing, test. All right, we're good on Facebook. LinkedIn, what's happening? Here we go. LinkedIn. LinkedIn checking 1 2 1 2. LinkedIn, what's up? Facebook was all right. LinkedIn, we're good. Check testing, test. All right, let me check YouTube. LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. You gotta get that kind of stuff. All right, but check testing. Let's get through this ad real quick. I'm Jared. I know you have a lot of choices when you're deciding which testing. All right, here we go. We're all good. We're all good on all the platforms. How's everyone doing out there? It's your first time tuning into me, or in my world. Let me just introduce myself real quick to anybody that is new to the Move Swiftly world. My name, Aswan Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time published author and educator. And what I do, what I created, what I'm all about, what we're all about over here in the Move Swiftly world is taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses. So you business owners out there have a team, have a set of employees, have a staff that moves just like a championship youth and high school football team. That is what we are all about here in the Move Swiftly world. All right. So before we get started, let me get through some announcements real quick. Free boxing lessons, West Palm Beach, Florida. Stand up. We officially here in February. I know I started these, I became the group leader at my church, at the church in which I do these at. Around, and I'll be discussing this a little bit later on in the week, but I became a group leader at Life Church during the holiday time, so it was hard to get people to show up and stuff like that. But we are officially in February. The holidays and all that kind of stuff is past, so it's time to get busy for real. All right, so hit that QR code if you are interested in that. Business owners, if you have not yet, you need to do this right now. It is simple. Will take you maybe 30 seconds to do it. freeguide.makeitmove.com. I created a nice 10 bullet points in which you can use right now that'll make it so your business is running a whole lot more efficiently than it currently is. And also patreon.com. That's where I'll be having exclusive content. We're looking to build a community of business owners who, again, are really interested in building a staff, creating a cohesive work environment for people to thrive and for people to develop and for everything to just happen within because of the professional development that they've created. So all that being said, let's get into today's topic today. Today, I'm going to walk you through another Saturday. All right. This was a Saturday of first, technically a first, because, you know, if you're new to my world, I'll just tell you now, but you regular consumers of my work know how much I would depend, especially given, you know, when I started doing these live streams regularly, how much I depended on watching college football and aligning a lot of my topics, aligning a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about and the lessons that I wanted to teach you owners and stuff like that, aligning it with what I saw in the college football field that game. You know, that's what I do here. I naturally take, and I specifically target college football because I believe that the game of college football, it provides so many incredible lessons towards business owners, right? So what do you do when there's no college football on, right? to figure it out. I have to figure it out. And aside from me, it being kind of depressing to think about it, and not having any games to watch and stuff like that, there was still things I had to figure out how I was going to produce at the frequency level that I'm normally producing, given that there's no college football on, right? So fortunately for me, there still was the Pro Bowl that I was looking forward to watching, and also the Senior Bowl. All right, the Senior Bowl. So here's what happened. I'll kind of give you guys a story, and then I'll let this video play, in which I will get into today's Make You Move kickoff question. Right, but what actually happened was, I came up with the string of topics, the lineup of topics in which I'm going to be discussing throughout the week. And the Pro Bowl was the main thing, because I myself personally, and I'll dive deeper into this in the next segment here when I play the Making Move kickoff question today. I am not a big fan of the current Pro Bowl games from a viewership standpoint. Now, if you're there with your family and all that kind of stuff, it's different. But the viewing of the Pro Bowl, I think that the NFL has obviously they have an incredible platform to where if you're going to get something on TV, having guys just run around in the 7-on-7 tournament, stand around, it was kind of an eyesore for TV. So anyway, that Saturday, I came up with the topic of what I'm going to be talking about today. But then the Senior Bowl happened. So the Senior Bowl happened, and as a way of me prepping for the topic today, I went and watched the Senior Bowl, and that's when I was like, okay, I got to address this. All right, so we're going to be diving into that a little later, but right now, let me play you today's kickoff question. So for those of you who don't know, what I do here every Monday is I have something called a Make You Move kickoff question. And I'm going to play you the kickoff question for this week. It is, what is better viewing? Is it the current Pro Bowl, the games, or the way it used to be where they actually had it? So yeah, let me play this for you guys. And once it's done playing, we'll get into today's topic. This, by the way, is my first time listening to it myself. So I'm brand new watching it, just like you also.
Check your one and only Move Swiftly speaker checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving your perspective on teamwork, which you will not get anywhere else. Another great day. Actually went a little above and beyond what I planned on doing. Some motivating factors and falls with that. Probably Monday, just feeling it when you have opportunities to go above and beyond what you plan on doing, and you feel it, fuck it, you just got to go forget it. Sometimes forget what the training says, because that's what these races entail. That's what, the goal entails. So look, when the time is time, you got to have it already built into your preparation mode to be ready. So the plan today was 4 miles, knocked out 6, okay? 2 days after a half marathon. And that is all mentality. That is all committing this month, eating right, no cheat meals whatsoever, a lot of fruits, a lot of veggies. I mean, absolutely already feeling the difference, considering it was 1,000% healthy just 24 hours ago. Did not eat a whole lot of, and matter of fact, it was just some bowl, nice garden veggie omelet with egg whites and, a big bowl of fruit and just some calamari, and that's it. Really kept it classy and just a world of difference in terms of the way my body feels. So going to keep that consistent throughout the entire month, probably the rest of the year. The plan is, when it comes to everything I'm looking to do, everything that I see in my future, everything I'm envisioning, everything that's right there, so fucking close, I can taste it. Oh, yes. That's it. It's changing up the lifestyle. All right. So as far as today's Move Swiftly thought, it is a Monday, I believe, February 3rd, 2025. And what we do around here in the Move Swiftly, where we call this Make Your Move Monday, Make Your Move Monday. And we started for the kickoff question. And seeing that we are officially in Super Bowl week, yesterday the NFL had their Pro Bowl. The question, easy one for me to answer, very curious about what you guys may think about this one, was, what's better viewing? What's better for the viewers? All right, I'm talking specifically for the viewers. I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about TV viewers, the folks that watch the Pro Bowl on TV. What's better viewing? Is it the Pro Bowl games that they had yesterday, or is it the actual Pro Bowl where they have pads on and, and they actually play a football game? Again, for me, incredibly easy answer. It is the actual Pro Bowl where they had pads. And I'm telling you, man, I attempted to watch those Pro Bowl games yesterday, and it was just a damn joke. Now, great, listen, the experience actually being there with your family and your kids and all that, I think that's an incredible thing. I do. Today, in the live stream today, I'm going to dive into some tips and some ideas on how we could just improve it for the overall game. Again, improve it for the game, which means improving it for the viewership on TV and the way the game is being presented. All right. So if you were at the game, I'm sure, and I've been actually at that stadium. I went to one of the Pro Bowls a couple of years ago when they had pads. If you were at the game with your family, with your kids, and it was sort of a kind of a very interactive environment, 1,000%. I think that's an awesome thing that they do with the players and have them doing fun games, interactive games, and fun things with the kids. Kind of just has some showmanship, things of that nature. Guys aren't getting hurt. Guys are just having fun, things like that. That's great for the people that are there. But in terms of the viewership, it's like, come on, man. Come on. And I'm going to talk about this in depth a little later on in about 30 minutes, about 45 minutes from this recording, when I talk about the way the college game and why the college game is just it's just so much better than the pro game, because we just watched the Senior Bowl where you saw the guy catch the winning pass, and, he had his older brother in his mind, and, there was so much celebration. The guys were actually playing hard. And then you got to turn on the pro game, the thing he's chasing, and this is the kind of nonsense that we're seeing. In fact, one of the things that really annoyed me was seeing, and not to say that he's a bad player, but seeing a guy like Malik Neighbors, in the Pro Bowl. Again, I can't tell you how great his stats were, or how deserving he is of being in the Pro Bowl, being that he is a rookie and all that kind of stuff. Again, he may have had an incredible year, and I'm sure he's an incredible talent. The problem is the Giants didn't do anything this year. They were terrible. They were damn terrible. Yeah, they just stunk up the joint this year. It's a reason they have one of the top picks. And to see that, and it's probably because, I was watching the game. I was around, I met this Giants fan just yesterday, just being around the game and seeing how much these fans dedicate themselves to the game, and then seeing players just kind of in this country club atmosphere, just enjoying it and stuff like that, even though the season was just a complete wash. I don't necessarily think viewers need to be looking at that, need to be forced to look at that in a nutshell. Like, real dedicated fans don't need to be forced to watch that in a nutshell. Now, if you're at the game and you guys are enjoying your time and all that, okay, good. But again, viewership wise, it's either you go back to the old format, or, take the games off TV and replace it with something that's going to serve the viewers a little better, in my personal opinion. And again, I'm going to dive into some tips on how to do that in a couple minutes here. Just tune into the live stream, right? All that being well, let me just repeat the question. Today's Make You Move kickoff question is, what is better for viewership? Is it the Pro Bowl games or the actual Pro Bowl? The actual Pro Bowl where they have pads on and they actually play a full game. All right, so let's digest that a little bit. All right, and that's pretty cool. That is my first time doing that. I know, so the way it is, I normally record and then I post, but very rarely, now that I've learned the whole screen share thing, I'm going to actually start doing more of that, where I'll record my daily video and then come on here and then watch it, just to remind, just kind of to jog my memory, because I want to double down on what I said. When it comes to what's better viewing, and I'm going to give you guys my perspective on this and why I personally don't like the new format of the Pro Bowl games. I like the idea of keeping the players safe. I like the idea of more engaging with the fans and, taking your family out and having it be just a great time. It looked like it was just a great time with the kids and seeing their favorite player up close and all that. If you were there, the experience seemed great. But when I was a kid, and this is why to this day, I'm a firm believer, and I will stand on it. I will debate anybody who is willing to go at it with me. We can go at it. In my opinion, Ray Lewis is the greatest football player to have ever played the game. You heard me correct. Ray Lewis, first ballot Hall of Famer, right, is the greatest player. Played linebacker for the Baltimore, same team, didn't jump around teams, even though he could have left and all that. Ray Lewis is the greatest football player to have ever laced them up in the ballot of as one Crookshank. Granted, little bias, grew up in the DMV. I played linebacker, get all that. I don't care. We can go at it. We can go at it if you believe otherwise. All right. So
My first experience watching a pro Bowl on TV, he was playing in it. All right, he was playing in the Pro Bowl, and it was, man, it was great to see it because of a couple reasons. All right, a couple reasons. They were having fun. The guys were in pads. They were having fun. They were playing hard, and I believe this was around the time where the whole mic'd up thing got started, and they had Ray Lewis mic'd up, and you saw him kind of giving it to the guys and having fun. He's on the AFC side and stuff. But then it got to a point where it became the fourth quarter. It became the fourth quarter. All right. And I never forget it because the broadcasters said, look, you got competitive guys, you got the greatest players in the league. Once they get to that fourth quarter and the game is kind of close, you're going to start to see some good football. Start to see some good football going on when we get to that fourth quarter. Right. And it just so happened that once they got to the fourth quarter, again, Ray Lewis was mic'd up, and you heard him. You heard him on the broadcast. You heard him say, "It's fourth quarter now. It's fourth quarter now, man. It's fourth quarter." All that joking has to stop. There was something real, man. There was something real about the game. There's something real about that, and that's important for me to note because of, again, like a fan, someone that is a person who watched the game and drew inspiration from these players. It was something that built in a habit that extended beyond football. All right. And I'm going to play this. Matter of fact, let me make sure I pull it up here. But I'm going to play you a clip in a second. It's something I listen to even to this day. This is it. Yeah, I got it up. Give me like 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. But let me just give you some framing of it. But there was a period there, and the reason I'm talking about this is because it started happening when I first got out to Florida, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. First got out to Florida, and they first had the Pro Bowl in Orlando in Camping World Stadium, where they had it just this past year. And I remember I bought my tickets. I went and I watched it. I was a part of the festivities the day before. They had a ton of things going on at the Wild World Complex of Sports. USA Football was there. There were so many things leading up to the event that, when we got to the actual game, unfortunately, it was raining, so the weather wasn't as nice as it was yesterday. And that happens. You take that risk when you decide to play it in Florida. But you saw it when the game started. You kind of felt the air being taken out of the place. All right. And this was my experience of going. The air was kind of taken out of it because the day before there were so many fan engaging things. I remember I was networking. I was meeting people with USA Football. To be specific, there was opportunities that I was looking to build upon. And every time I go to Orlando, I think about when my youth team, White Oak Warriors, we won a national championship there. You were on that same field. It was a great experience for folks who just love football. And then you get to the game, and the guys are just lollygagging around. No one's really going to the ground. No one's tackling and all that kind of stuff. Which, again, I understand as a person that has played this game that, look, these are guys now, they're playing for money at this point. They're getting paid to play the game. So there's something that needs to, but if you're going to be on here's what gets me about that is the thing that made them change their format is the fact that the guys weren't playing hard and people weren't tackling, and it just looked like, two-hand touch football. Yet you basically turn the Pro Bowl games into flag football at this point. So they tried everything. They tried everything to motivate the guys to play and to, put in their effort and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play you this video, and then I'm going to talk about some suggestions as to how we can fix the situation that we have going on with the Pro Bowl. Because if it's not fixed, you're going to be turning folks off. You're going to be turning viewership off from the game. And that's not something that's not a path you want to go down. But let me let Ray Lewis cook for a second.
I got to go back as simple as I think we'll understand. Moments, it's just like this game. You can never give them back or get them back. I don't think it's never about the individual. It's about your moment being the hope for somebody that will never have the opportunity to ever do this. That's why every time I strapped up my whether it's football practice,
I want to make sure. We got to repeat that. We got to repeat that. Moments, baby. Moments.
It's just like this game. You can never give them back or get them back.
Yeah,
I don't think it's never about the individual. It's about your moment being the hope for somebody that will never have the opportunity to ever do this. That's why every time I strapped up my fan, whether it's football practice, whatever it is, I got to give 110% every time. Because somebody watching me. That's the fact. The hard reality is pain exists everywhere we go on this earth, right on this world right now. And sometimes people get people who sit in hospitals dealing with cancers, they don't get opportunities like this, baby boys. So that's why it can't be solved. Because every time I get the chance to display what I've been given the ability to do, I'm giving it everything I got against my brother if it took that much. That's how real the game is. We can never let the culture die. Because if I took each and every one of you back to childhood right now and tell you to compete against each other, y'all gonna die before y'all let the other one beat you.
Is he what I call him the greatest player to have ever played the game? That point, I'm gonna double down on that point because it frames what I'm gonna be discussing in terms of tips and how to fix the situation. But that point, I want to let that point sink in for you for a second. If he took every last one of them, every last one of those players that we saw in the Pro Bowl yesterday, you took all of them back to childhood, you would die before you the other one beat you. You would die. You would make it. So you would not let them win no matter what because you were trying to get to the NFL. But now you get to the NFL and you have to watch guys running around in T-shirts and, smiling and playing around and stuff like that. Again, all that stuff is great for the fans. But in terms of what your livelihood is and what we as viewers need to be subjected to, we don't want to see that shit. Straight up, we want to see that nonsense. We want to see competition. We want to see some competitors. All right, because that's what the game provides. That's what the game should be providing. I'm gonna keep letting them cook, but I just had to pause you on that point. That point is so powerful, and I'll double down. I'll give you an example of why that will work in a second. Hold on.
God took each and every one of you back to childhood right now and tell you to compete against each other. Y'all gonna die before y'all let the other one beat you.
1,000%.
Let the culture die. Because if I took each and every one of you back to childhood right now and tell you to compete against each other, y'all gonna die before y'all let the other one beat you.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we've been given. That's what we've been gifted to do.
Yeah.
Ain't no more. If it move, hit it. If it's song she catch they dance with it. The game will never change. Let this be a new change, man. Let this be a new era. Let not the new era of all this other stuff in social media take away from the
game.
When you one-on-one now.
Come on, man.
And then see who you are at the end of the day. That's champions. I don't go into no game thinking about losing. Losing. That's an afterthought. Today, change your life by simply your effort. I don't need nothing else, female. Everything you got. Somebody gonna reach up to tell somebody they got one more day to fight. It's about the kids. Give them hope. Give them hope. Let the other team know it ain't personal. But this is my business. This is what I do. Hang it up.
Man, I needed that. I personally needed that one. I haven't, there's been a couple of months since I've listened to that clip, and it was a regular, but it's been a while since I've heard it, but it just is like the first time I heard it in, what was it, 2017, 2025. It's just as motivating because, man, so much to unpack. All right. So let me just start off with the couple, let's say about 30 to 45 minutes of the Pro Bowl games that I watched yesterday. My stomach just couldn't take it. All right. I'll be 100% honest with you. I just didn't have the I didn't have the ability to keep watching. All right, I had better things to do. I just finished off the articles that I wrote that'll be debuting this week. I just put the lineup out there in terms of everything that I'm going to be discussing on today on this week's live stream. Everything was kind of just set, and I was watching it leisurely, and I was like, I can't take it anymore, because it's 7-on-7, and you got guys who are running around, and they're kind of just having fun. But then even in the 7-on-7, you stop the game, as that can potentially get competitive and stuff. You stop the 7-on-7 game to have some punt contests where the guys who are punting aren't even actual punters, and then the actual punters come on and they punt, and the whole games, it didn't have a good flow to it, to where, again, okay, you want to go Pro Bowl 7-on-7, all right, just play the damn 7-on-7 game, see who wins. But to interrupt the game and have guys do some punting, and then you have the cameras watching guys just stand around, I didn't understand why a person who's watching the game from afar, who's watching it from TV, I don't understand why we have to be subjected to that. Now, if you're there and maybe your favorite, maybe your son, maybe you're a huge Vikings fan, and you traveled from Minnesota to Orlando, you took your whole family out there for a vacation, and your sons are huge Justin Jefferson fans, and they're decked out in Vikings gear, and they got the Justin Jefferson t-shirt on, and they're excited to see him up close and personal. Hey, that's a great time. That's a great memory. It's not something where, especially seeing that he can't really lose. Even if they lose the game, quote unquote, you still had fun seeing your guy. Like if I was a kid and I had the opportunity to go to a Pro Bowl and see Ray, see that guy that we just see that guy that I just played. If I had an opportunity to see this guy as a kid, I'd have my Ray Lewis jersey on and shake his hand and interact with him and all that kind of stuff. I would have been, that would have made my day, or it would have made my life, that would have made my year, it would have made my entire childhood. Right, I would have loved that format if I was there. But watching it, come on, man, watching it sucked. Watching on TV sucked, because all you're doing is you're watching guys stand around, and it just seemed, it really was just confusing. All right, so that's my take on it. Let me get to the Senior Bowl and how the Senior Bowl, why the Senior Bowl. I'm so thankful that that I actually decided to watch the Senior Bowl, and I'm so thankful for the college game, because the college game, in my opinion, it still is. The college game is what makes it so the NFL can function the way it functions, because right now the National Football League does not have a farm system. They don't have a feeder system, which is a huge red flag, which is a huge risk that they take year in and year out, seeing that they don't have a feeder system. They don't have a situation in which they're calling guys up the same way baseball does, the same way hockey does, the same way that even the NBA does, where you as a pro franchise, you have an affiliate franchise, you have an affiliate team that you can, call guys down, bring guys up, a group of free agents, whatever it is. The NFL does not have that. So the college, they still depend solely on the college game to build their foundation year in and year out, which is why you see them put so much time and money and attention and thought behind this draft. Why you actually do, in my opinion, we can't confirm this, but in my opinion, there are teams, in my opinion, that have tanked. Teams who have tanked, and they've just went ahead and sold the farm just so they can get a higher draft pick, which again is so disrespectful to the game. You have no idea. But at the end of the day, when you are in that high stakes business and you don't have a farm system, you just simply got to do what you have to do to build for the future, right? So we had the Reese Senior Bowl, and I'm watching it. I went to Duffy's. Duffy's a local sports bar out here in Florida. I went to Duffy's and I watched the game, and it wasn't the main attraction. The main attraction, like what was on the main TVs, was some UFC fight or whatever it is. And I asked them to put it on NFL Network to watch the Senior Bowl, because like I mentioned earlier, I was going to watch that game and I wanted to see if there was something I could pick up as I give my thoughts on how the Pro Bowl is, or something that they may be doing that can improve the Pro Bowl, or just something. Again, I'm a student of the game first. I'm involved in all facets of it. All of it fascinates me, right? So I'm watching the game, and as usual, it's in Mobile, Alabama. Matter of fact, let me just pull it up real quick for you here. Let me just, because I think I'm going to give you, if you're not familiar with the Senior Bowl, let me just pull out a link for you just to give you a reference here. Hold on one second. Let me do that. Yep. Here it is. Let me just show you. Yeah. All right, real quick. Let me just show you a quick website so you see it. So yes. So let's kind of diagnose the website. First of all, there's a point to it. All right. There's a point to it. They have it to where they're marketing for the NFL. All right. They first say, hey, the draft starts in Mobile. All right. Senior Bowl now is being built up. All-star game, but it's also guys are going to be competing fairly hard because they want to improve their draft stock. All right. So do a great job there. Also, on top of that, I'm curious, the game. One of the things I thought that they did a great job in was I want to see if they have it. I want to see. Let me see something real quick. So one of the things that they did that made a whole lot of sense was and I'm not sure if this is something that they've been doing over the span of a couple of years, but yeah, here, is this it? But they had the special teams coach for the Giants and the special teams coach for the Browns. They had them as the coaches of both the teams, the American team and the national team. The American team and the national team were coached by the special teams coordinators of the Giants and the Browns. And that makes a ton of sense because when you're looking to make an NFL roster, being a special teams guy is a requirement. You have to be athletic enough to play on special teams. The more special teams you get on, that's how you earn your way into one of the starting roles on offense and defense. So being that is the case when it comes to the NFL, having the special teams coaches as the head coaches, that made a ton of sense. So there's already that piece of it that is going to capture the type of fans that you want, the kind of people that you want. And that's important. And then throughout the game, they were constantly, now I know this because I used to work for a company named FBU, and FBU is affiliated with, used to be the U.S. Army All-American game. Now it's the Navy All-American game, but the way they would market the game is they would always be showing clips of the alumni, quote unquote, the players that played in the game. So, back when I was with FBU, the person that they would market a lot, his name was Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence used to be an FBU guy. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Trevor Lawrence played in the U.S. Army All-American game. Let me just fact check myself real quick. U.S. Army, yeah. Yep. Yep, there it is. So this is what they do. I'm going to just show you a quick example. So when I used to work with FBU, they would be touting us along stuff like this. All right. U.S. Army All-American, Trevor Lawrence. And then so they'd have little clips going on. And then like throughout the game, you would see, okay, now he's playing for the Jaguars. Sorry to Clemson. Now he's playing for the Jaguars, stuff like that. U.S. Army All-American. In fact, I actually have a copy of it right here. I'll show you right here in my book. Because all of this goes into the marketing of it. Let me just give you guys some game real quick. This is the marketing of it. Train like an All-American. This is what they used to do. Again, myself as a former FBU scout, I know I know how to work the game. All right, I know the way it works. So the Senior Bowl, back to the Senior Bowl now. As I'm watching the game, we're seeing highlights of the Jalen Hurts of the world. We're seeing highlights of the guys that are going to be playing. They have a list of the guys that are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. You see, they played in the Senior Bowl, so they're marketing the league, and they're not doing it necessarily. I used to be kind of a bit resentful for that, because I was looking at it from the perspective of someone that was coaching one team. But the more I grew and developed in this business, I realized they're just doing what they have to do to keep the fans engaged. There's something special about continuing to, we'll say, follow a player. All right. There's something genuinely special about following a player from when he's, youth to high school, to college, to the pros. There's a story there. And you build lifelong fans when you're able to document their story on every turn. So they're marketing that. They're not necessarily, like I said, I used to be of the mindset that they're exploiting the player. But that's more so, that mindset, that worldview of it is more so about, I guess, the parents look at it and they say, because it's not my son, because again, 99% of the people that play the game are not going to be good enough to, that's what I talked about in the book, 99% of the people who play football are not going to be good enough to play in the NFL. So if you're a parent and you pay your money to go to this camp because they said that they're going to make you an All-American, and you paid your money to go to this camp and you're not an All-American, which again, 99% of you all are not going to be All-American. So there's going to be 99% of the parents who actually paid their money for a camp or whatever, and they're going to be upset if the reason that they paid their money is because they thought that they were going to be one of these guys that could potentially play in the NFL, right? So if you paid for that camp, you're going to obviously be upset. But more I developed in this business, more I grew in this business, I realized that they're not doing it for that. They're more so doing it to keep the loyal fan engaged with the game. So you get at a situation like the Senior Bowl, and you had interviews with the quarterback that just played at Notre Dame. Jesus. It's escaping me. I can't even think of the name right now. Hold up. It's right here. The roster's right here. You had the quarterback. Let's go to the roster real quick. You had the quarterback that played. It was Riley, right? I think it was Riley, right? Somebody help me out here. It was what the heck was his name? The quarterback that just played at Notre Dame. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, Notre Dame. What was his name again? Riley Leonard. Yeah, that was it right here. Riley Leonard. So we just saw him playing a nationally televised national championship game, and he was one of the ones being interviewed. Again, I went to because I'm such a huge Michigan fan, I went to the Michigan-Alabama game where I saw Jalen Milroe. Okay, now I'm seeing Jalen Milroe play in this game, all that kind of stuff. So you had an idea of who certain guys were. You wanted to follow their journey. You loved the story of them trying to make it to the NFL, whether they make it or not, and all that kind of stuff. They were able to use that as a way of engaging and making it so people who really watch the game, it's something that's brand new. These are the things that the NFL needs to adopt. These are the things that the NFL needs to incorporate in the Pro Bowl. If we're talking about viewership, if we're talking about just watching the game, I would love to see a situation in which they, as the NFL folks, are now collaborating with, let's say it's the UFL, let's say it's some of the free agents, some of the guys that are on the bubble, let's say it's even the college game. You want to put an all-star game together, that's for the college game. Let's play the game, let's connect with that, and have viewers be able to watch that, and then leave all of the fun Pro Bowl stuff, standing around and who looks great in a t-shirt, and who's got the coolest shades on, who's wearing the hat backwards, who's doing all that. Let that be something for the folks that are actually at the game. Let them enjoy that. But to televise the games, and it just seems so unnecessary, and it seemed like something that, again, you just really don't feel like watching after a while. Because I had just watched this Senior Bowl, and the game was amazing. The game this year just happened to be amazing. All right, so here's what happened, and here's where the game is very special. I'm going to read you some portions. I just published this article this morning. All right. Just published this article this morning because this kid that we're looking at the screen, I didn't know who he was. I did not know who he was until Saturday. And I saw him catch the game-winning touchdown. But before I get into the article that I wrote, I want to frame it. I want to frame it just a little bit because the viewership, the question that we're discussing and we're tackling today is about viewership. It's about viewership. It's about what's better viewing for the typical fan. What's better viewing for the people who are observers of the game? What's better viewing for the folks who played it, coached it, scouted it, still work in it, still inspire people to be involved in it, still are stewards of it, are still continuously push for the game to be put in a better place. All right. And when I watch the game, I'm watching, like I mentioned, I got distracted, but when I'm watching at Duffy's, the sound wasn't on. The sound wasn't on at all. And as I'm watching it, I'm watching every single player, whether it's the American or the national side, every single player has the number 7 decal on the back of their helmet. I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea what it meant, but I'm just watching it. And again, because I'm just there enjoying the environment, I'm just there having kind of like my scouts hat on and just watching the game. And then I remember I was actually going to leave, but the game actually got kind of interesting. It got kind of interesting at the end because American had stopped them from making it a 2-score game. They stopped them from making a 2-score game. And I was like, oh, okay, all-star game. You got an all-star game. It's actually kind of getting interesting. And then American got the ball and they had an opportunity to drive down and win the game. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, all right, let's see what happens. I'd already paid my bill or whatever. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, okay, well, let's see how this whole thing plays out. Let's see how it all actually plays out, right? And so this kid, his name is Jack Bech. Long story short, it's a 4th and goal. And they have a play design for him, and he ends up making the game-winning catch. Let me see if I can read it for you guys, because I know I have it written down here. Their contrast. Game to remember. I'll read it. All right, yeah, here it is. And this is me writing. This is the article that just came out. I'll read a kind of a snippet of it for you guys. I'm talking about myself. I'm not the one who gets swept away in the NFL draft hype, the endless cycle of mock drafts and media frenzy, rely captures, and rarely. Let me get a sip of water. All right, here we go. I'm not one to get swept up in the NFL draft hype. The endless cycle of mock drafts and media frenzy rarely captures my interest. But this game, watched play by play from start to finish, was different. It all came down to a nerve-wracking 4th and goal situation. The American team was trailing the national team by 4 points. Then, in a beautifully orchestrated play designed for a player named Jack Bech, everything changed. Jack caught the game-winning touchdown, sending the American team and its supporters into a frenzy of celebration. It did. If you watch it live, it was absolutely chaos, absolutely chaos. But here's what struck me, and I'm going to read it for you in a second. Here's what struck me. What struck me the most wasn't just the athletic brilliance on display. It was an emotional moment unfolding on the screen. As Jack's teammates and coaches erupted in jubilation, I noticed a man in the crowd, a father or perhaps an uncle, hugging Jack so tightly that his silent embrace spoke volumes. Even without audio, the raw emotion was palatable, and I found myself drawn into the deep human story behind the game. And again, you guys can go and read the rest of that on your own. So to put it basically, let me just break that down real quick. So Jack Bech catches the touchdown. Teammates are celebrating. Everything's going on. But then I see this guy who's hugging him like tightly, and the tears are flowing. You can feel he still has helmet on, and the tears are absolutely coming down to the point where I'm not hearing what the announcer is saying. I'm not knowing what's going on, but I felt it, man. I felt it. I felt the love. I felt the hug. I felt that this had to be something bigger than football. It had to be. It had to be. He just won a damn All-Star game, which is like, congratulations. But this kind of celebration for an All-Star game, there's something bigger here. There's something new happening. So it sparked my interest because, again, you got to think what drew me to the game initially was what I'm going to be talking about today and diagnosing how the Pro Bowl looked and what it was all about. So I did my research and I realized that in fact, Jack Bech, his older brother, was one of the guys that was a victim of those senseless acts of that was unfortunately, hate even saying it, but unfortunately his older brother lost his life just a month ago with that pickup truck thing that happened in New Orleans and the attacks. And it just so happened that this kid is Louisiana guy from Louisiana, started his career at LSU, and his older brother was again a victim of that. And that catch and that moment for him was really special. But here's the real kicker. Here's the real kicker, because again, I'm watching the game and I kind of nonchalantly noticed that number 7 on the back of all the players' helmets. Okay, that was his brother's number. And I'm 100% sure that the announcers were saying that throughout the game, but the sound was off for me, and I was just watching the game and noticing. But that number 7 that he's wearing was his brother's number. And, again, all the players are having that decal. They're remembering him. They're thinking about him. And obviously, you get, whether it was his father or his uncle, he sees that catch and the emotion. And that's what football's all about, man. That's what the game's all about. That's what makes the game so special. When you watch a football game, all right, I'll close you out with this concept because I'm trying not to. The goal here is to make these live streams from 45 minutes to around 50 minutes. I'm working on not making it a whole hour and stuff like that, because once I get on a certain subject, I can go. I can get long-winded on certain things. But the game, whenever you strap them up, all right, when you watch a game, what's special about the game of football, first of all, it's the story behind why the kids are playing. All right, why the kids are playing, what they went through, what they lived through, what everything that they had to do just to make it to a practice, everything that they had to do just to get everyone lined up. And, this one does this, and this is your responsibility, and this is what you got to see. And the whole camaraderie, everything that goes into just getting a team fielded. All right, that's number 1. But during the game, what people love, what I love, what everyone loves about it is the anticipation. The anticipation, like on the edge of your seat, like it's a close one. Like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God, guy drops back the throw. Is he gonna catch it? What is he seeing? Like when you're watching the game from that perspective, it's the anticipation that is always going to grab you. We're going to see it in the Super Bowl. We're going to see it in every time we watch it. It's what's going to happen when you watch it in practice. It's the anticipation, right? With all that's going on, with all the responsibility. It's not like watching a basketball game. It's not we're going to respect a lot of sports. We're just going to respect a lot of sports. But this game is so unpredictable, and that's the beauty of it. It's so unpredictable because one person doesn't do their job. Okay, the whole play gets thrown off. In basketball, one person don't do his job. It's all good. LeBron gonna make him right. Booyah! You know what I'm saying? One person don't do their job right in soccer. Hey, you're good. Goalie will make you right. In hockey, every other sport you could think of, or even baseball, one person don't do their job. It's okay. The other person can. In football, you gotta do your job. And it's so much anticipation that's going into these things, right? So when it comes to me, someone that studies the game as much as I do, and I didn't even know about this story until he caught that game-winning pass, and I realized, look at the celebration. Look at how excited his guys are for him when he caught that game-winning pass. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. Yeah, this was it. This was it right here. This was it. When I saw this guy hugging him after an All-Star game, oh my God, my heart was like, it was hitting me because I didn't know the story until he caught it. And then he catches the pass, and you see this embrace, you see this movement, you see all of it. every time you step up, every time you strap up your pads, every time you get an opportunity to play, this is what it's all about. You're playing for something bigger than yourself. And let me get to my suggestion now for the NFL game. All right. And I might have said it before, but I'm going to repeat it here. I'm going to make sure I double down on it. When it comes to the NFL and what they're doing with the Pro Bowl, something of those elements need to be done. All right. If you're going to put it on TV, there needs to be something else on TV that is more so showing how hungry certain players are to get to the NFL. All right. I would suggest a connection with another semi-pro league, a quality semi-pro league, even if it's the UFL, and say, all right, look, let's have our all-star game here too, or let's have some of our tryout games, some sort of game that the players are going to take seriously. Let's use this platform to do that, and then maybe have the 7-on-7 game with the pros and collide it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I think one of the things that Stephen A. had recommended years ago, and this is when he was referring to, they were talking about the All-Star game and the NBA All-Star game, which I didn't even have the patience to talk about that at this point. But he was expressing his disgust with how bad the NBA All-Star game had gotten, and he had made a great suggestion. Again, I don't agree with everything Stephen A. Smith says, but when it comes to basketball, I tend to listen to a little bit more of what Stephen A. Smith what he suggests, because I do think he's really, really just probably one of the, if not the best, when it comes to just the basketball knowledge of it. Football stuff, I stopped engaging in his football takes a long time ago. But basketball wise, he had mentioned that the All-Star game and the dunk competition, one of the things that they can do is bring in guys maybe from Rucker Park, bring in guys off the street, free agents, guys that are, out there still trying out, still working out, overseas guys that are hungry, that are going to want to play, bring those guys in and have the All-Star game consist of them, because they're going to be hungry for the opportunity to play. It's not about see, here's what's happened with social media is social media has humanized a lot of people that used to be colossal big figures. Like back when I was growing up, to think that you have access to Ray Lewis, to think that you have access to watching him, throughout his day-to-day with your phone, because you can follow him on social media and all that. That was like something that was unheard of when I was coming up. But now that the game is sort of humanized these guys, it's important now, if you're going to put someone on TV, you're displaying how rare it is, the opportunity is to play. And that's what the Pro Bowl needs to incorporate, in my opinion, just based on viewership. Because I'm going to take it all the way back at the beginning. My first time watching a Pro Bowl was when Ray Lewis played in it. They were in full pads, and it got said by the announcer. And then from the announcer saying it, then Ray Lewis said it. He said, hey, look, it's fourth quarter now. It's fourth quarter now. It's the fourth quarter now. Now let's start playing some ball. We done had our fun and, did all the fan stuff, signed our autograph, did our interviews and all that kind of stuff. It's fourth quarter now. It's fourth quarter now. It's fourth quarter now. Now let's start playing some ball. So that's my take on it. And, again, I'll be here every single 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, every morning, discussing some of these hot topics. Tomorrow, as I do every Tuesday, we're breaking down a top 5 Tuesday, and we'll dive into that then. So before I let you go, first, make sure you tap into the Patreon link. Let me put the link up here one more time. Tap into the Patreon link. It is patreon.com/as144. If you want more information, main website is makeyourmove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon. Oof.